Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning. I am so sorry I am late, guys. I do not know what the fuck happened, but my alarm, like, straight up did not go off. Like, I woke up at a certain time, and then, like, it was like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, I'll turn over. I still got 20 minutes, and then, like, it didn't go off. I woke up again. It was 6:30. So I like literally just woke up. Probably looked terrible. No, actually, I don't look too bad. And the sound sounds weird. I don't know what the deal is there. So I'm just gonna get this going. Let's just take a look over the markets here. It looks like things are going pretty well here. Oil rebounded pretty hard. Yeah, this whole time I was bottom feeding, and I really should be long 64, and it looks like I missed my opportunity, man. That sucks. But I kind of made a mistake, and I was like, well, I better stop. Better stop, because I made the mistake. It still made money, but and like 70 is what we're going for fair value. So no, 80 is what we're going for fair value. But we did have a little bit of a decline here, so maybe we could try these prices. I'll leave something out there. Anyways, ES got hit pretty hard by Powell yesterday, but it looks like they're recovering it. Like, the thing that's so funny, the market freaked out about it, but like, doesn't this just put us like the same situation that we were in last week? Like, nothing's changed essentially, right? In the end, nothing's changed. The new virus is not a thing yet, and the Federal Reserve is just going to be doing exactly what they said they were, we were thinking about before, which is they might taper faster. Okay, so, and here's the treasuries. Oh man, the treasuries are not. Okay. Well, I need to roll over my my treasuries here actually. So let's do that. Roll over. Natural gas still declining because weather in Europe has been pretty good. Gold and silver kind of, I don't know if they're going to be doing so well here in a bit as rates increase. So, I think I want to go long some 10 years, but let's fix all this. This is the 2-year. No, I did not roll. Did I close it too early? Oh, right. No, it is supposed to be 12, not 1. Okay, 2-year. Five-year. Ten-year. 30-year. You have your seal bid at 77.58. How do you get that? Well, I got filled. See what happens. I'll have to I'm gonna keep it close to my chest to where how I'm doing it, but I'm gonna have to leave something there so that as I go away, just in case it doesn't like decline like $1,000 again or something. All right. Okay, guys. I'm gonna go find something to eat and I'll be right back. And then maybe, well, 1.5. I was thinking maybe we go long 10-year. No, it's already 1.5. I don't know about that. We could still go long 1.5 to get to, you know, we might still get $10 out of that, but I don't know if that's a good price at the moment. Seems a little sketch. Oh, you know, before I go, I should also check here. We did get ADP and stuff, right? ADP 534 versus 525. Good, pal. ISM at the top of the hour. Okay, good. We got some time, so that's okay. All right. I'll be back. So you're expecting 2-day action? I don't know, man. Does the microphone sound different to you today, guys? Different, or is it just my voice? I don't know. Oh man, that does sound weird. I think it's on. I just well, oil's definitely giving him some grief right now. Came back pretty far, right? Trying to sort out here the treasury though. You know, like the interest rates definitely rose up there again. But they could be so much more aggressive, right? Like I think at its height we were at like 1.7 in the 10-year. So could we go there today? I'm not so sure about that. But this could definitely be like a they ignore and move on. The Japanese yen is looking really strong right now, by the way. What's the dollar doing? The dollar's moving down. Oh, it's below 96. Okay. What about Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin got hurt yesterday, but it looks like they're trying to set something up. There's it's 4,600. Well, there's always going to be a big order there, though. I don't know, guys. So far, oil not necessarily behaving very nicely. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Right there. I'm tempted to take a second contract, but I think that I'm going to keep it relatively low risk here at first. That's definitely a pivot right there. Wow, so fast too. Oh, my eyes are watering like crazy. I'm thinking new money, new risks. I don't know. I think here that oil should be poised to move back up to 80, to be honest with you. It's just a question of options. Like, I think that movement yesterday, I think that the retail traders were all doing what I was doing. They were all bottom feeding. So you look at the market orders are all long. Now, some people are telling me that there's a lot of activity in spreads. So I think that if we're really going to more seriously trade oil, we need to have the other oil contract up and like the monthly spreads, right? So that could be some of it. But Goldman was saying that they were gamma hedging, that because of the way that the gamma was hedged, once it started going down, they really had to start selling more, and that's why it got so excessive the past 2 days. Hopefully, now that it's a new month, that will abate a little bit, but might continue to have problems until the 17th, right? They shorted VIX again. Yeah, I was saying, like, you remember yesterday, I was like, where's Gary? This is a short. This is go short volatility, isn't it? This is sell puts, sell oil puts for sure. Yeah, Treasury's not doing much right there at that spot. Oil sure feels like it's moving around a lot, but I mean, it's freaking oil. E-mini's not moving much. All right, so all I had there was a banana and some bacon. So I got some oatmeal here now. Hopefully it's cooled down enough I can chomp that down quickly here. Oh wow, this one is okay. Wow. And they did a whole study. Oh wow. Okay. NFT oligarchy, a study of 6.1 million NFT trades finds a few folks at the center of the market. The top 10% of traders account for 85% of transactions and trade at least once 97% of all assets. 10% of buyer-seller pairs have the same volume as the remaining 90%. And here they have a picture of the trader network and the NFT network. It really is just a few people doing everything. It's a speculative bubble, my friends. And I don't really think that regular people are buying into it. It's just like all of the influencers that think they will make money from it. They have many pretty charts in it. Crypto kitties. That's funny. Right, we'll throw that over here. Okay. A spot gamma pointing out panic as the S&P 500 draws down, but 2%, while Apple was just rocketed. Yes, it did, actually. That was kind of weird, wasn't it? Well, I guess, though, those big techs like the lower interest rates, right? I tell you what, oil sure is cyclical. Like, it really goes in waves, doesn't it? I wonder how consistent that is. So in this market, it's really traveled in waves in a way that is much more consistent than any of the other futures that we've traded. Already out. You're not going to ride it to 80 with me? Come on. Come on, bro. It's okay. You do what you got to do. I'm crazy. I think we can get 80. Not today, but like before the futures roll over, I think we could get 80. Listen to this guy. Trading oil, claims he's not that brave. Oh, at the beginning of that crazy COVID sell-off, I got burned by selling naked boots. Yeah, you know what though? Like, so here's a tip for you on that one. Gamma and options has become such a significant part of this market, and a big part of the options trading is trying to get it to ride as far as you can that day, because then your mark-to-market profits are higher and you have more margin to work with the next day. Then the next day you take it off or whatever, right? So like, excuse me, they basically the gist of it is that when you start to get like a big news-based move, like COVID, for instance, like that, basically intraday reversals don't happen as much anymore. Like an intraday reversal like we had in the S&P 500 yesterday, very rare. And it's not going to happen without really significant game-changing news. And then even with that one, like with that one, that's like, okay, we're in the same situation we were last week. So that should still be bullish. We were bullish last week with it in ES, right? We should be able to buy it. But you can't necessarily buy it yesterday because of the way the options went. But then here, when the session starts, it turns around, right? So sometimes you just kind of have to say, well, okay, the sentiment today is this way. We'll come back tomorrow. Yeah, oil is crazy for sure. So it's something I'm seeing right now in oil. Coming over to my chart. You can see the cumulative delta. We were at like 10,000 net cumulative delta before the decline at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock, which I'm assuming had to have been off of. Well, actually, I'm not sure what that was about. There must have been an OPEC headline, perhaps. Okay, so now we're recovering it. We've recovered it in volume. Typically, when we do that, we're going to go further than the initial meta order, but we haven't. There is still some volume up in here, I think. There was some stuff at 68.30, for instance. So perhaps if we get above the 70 area, maybe then we'll rocket across this area and push higher. But at the moment, it's very uncertain. Now, with all that said, awfully strong trend coming through here in oil so far, up to the 68.50 area. Here's another thing from Bitfinex. As protests reported in August, market makers Alameda Research, spearheaded by crypto billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried, and Cumberland Global, a subsidiary of trading giant DRW, are still the biggest fish in the Tether markets. Together, Alameda and Cumberland received at least $60.3 billion in USDT across the time period analyzed, equal to around 55% of all outbound volume ever. 49.2 billion of Alameda's Cumberland's USDT was acquired in the past year alone, equal to about 60% of all Tether issued in that time. And then there's a distribution. That's cool. But it also, I think the reason that Bitfinex is posting that is because he's saying this is just like 10 people swapping money around and pushing the markets around. Yeah, I think so. If Tether stops printing, or one of those guys decides to go bearish, then the cryptocurrency market will get decimated. Because if either of those guys try to cash out their actual dollars, they ain't going to get it. Your naked puts are a mess. What do you have naked puts on? You just buy puts, buy calls. It's fine. It's fine. You probably lose everything, but hey. Hopefully you didn't put too much into it, right? Jordan Peterson is getting more active on Twitter these days. FGENG. Oh, okay. That's a little different. I don't know. I don't know much about those individual stocks. I should really spend more time looking at individual stocks, but I think I would have to be spending like all day researching tickers and stuff, and doing pricing models. Okay, so there was a pivot there in oil. Was kind of inevitable that was going to happen. It's too much work. I don't know if it's too much work. It's just not something that I think I could do part-time, you know? Hey, Gus, how are you? Haven't seen you for a few days. I'm glad that, you know what, normally if I'm like late for a stream, everybody's like, are you alive, Seth? No, it was just there's just 7 people waiting like usual. I really want to know what's going on with my alarm. Did it go off and I cleared it and then went back to sleep and didn't realize it? Because my alarm has never just outright died on me. It's been a minute. Well, I hope you've been doing okay. We've been having a little bit too much fun trying to trade oil this week. Oh, you've been on vacation. I getcha. Well, maybe that's you missed all of the fun, but that's probably a good thing because in retrospect, it wasn't really that fun. Don't cry, baby. My eyes water so much sometimes. I think that my medication maybe dries my eyes out a little bit. Maybe I need to drink more water. I don't know. But then what happens is the secondary tears start going and those are too much. And if I don't dab my eyes, that'll like roll down my cheeks. It's really annoying, especially like I'm recording and you can see there's a little bit of water in my eye. It drives me crazy. It's okay for guys to show emotion. Okay, so you know what? I've been reading Dune. Did you guys watch the Dune movie? Because I really liked the Dune movie. The aesthetic was just so cool. Well, so my dad was always into Dune. So I remember when the sci-fi series came out, we had to watch the original movie and then we watched the whole sci-fi series. And I don't know how we did it, but we were able to watch the sci-fi series, even though we didn't have cable. And he must have like borrowed DVDs or something. Or maybe it was by that point that we did have cable. I don't know. But I remember watching it all. And I remember like after they meet the Fremen, there being like a lot of prophecy and all of that sort of weird stuff. But like I'm reading the book and it's intense stuff. It's like you don't even like you're like not even reading stuff anymore. It's like this word salad and words just kind of like meld into what's going on and like you understand what's going on but you don't understand the words. It's really weird. And I don't remember it being like that on the sci-fi series, you know? But I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my gosh, the second movie is going to be so much different from the first movie. And I'm really interested to see how he does it. But it's also a little emotional. It's a little intense. And I was thinking about how that's going to be. It made me feel a little pang of emotion coming there. Like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing when it comes out. I hope so, at least. The author knew about sand dunes. Well, the thing that's weird about the book, there's a couple of things about the way that book is written that are kind of weird. I think one of the things was that he was kind of like he was like a reporter of some sort. So a lot of things are written in a way that like kind of assume that you already know what's going on. Kind of like a news report. It's like they're giving you details. Even you already know the gist that the Harkonnens attacked the Atreides and took Arrakis back. And it assumes from the very beginning that you know that. And it's just filling in the details as it goes along. Like big revelations in Dune are different from big revelations. The Atreides being backstabbed and attacked, and the Doctor being the person that backstabs them, it should in any other story would be like a big, spoiler alert, right? But it's not in Dune. So that's one thing that's weird. Being in a third world country for a few weeks give you a different perspective on the lifestyle we have back in the States. Yeah. Really going anywhere else. There's nowhere like the United States and Canada, man. Europe is very, very different from the United States and Canada, man. It's weird. Anyways, so there's that. Another thing that's weird and is difficult to follow is that there's this whole thing like there's prophecy, but it's like it's because certain people can see the future, and they set these things up. So like the people think that it's all God, but it's really it's not God, but it's still like prophecy. It's really weird. that side of it, because in the minds of the people fulfilling the prophecy, they're cheating, but really the prophecy was always about them anyways, right? And then there will be these abstract scenes where like he uses weird words and ways that they shouldn't, to describe like the mental processes of things spinning around and stuff. Being under drugs, it's really weird. That is very hard to follow. And now I understand why people say like Dune is a hard book to read. The basic message of Dune is that leadership is risky. So I haven't gotten through it all, but one of the things that I'm seeing in here is he's going through this thing where he's among the Fremen now, and the Fremen all think that he's basically Jesus, right? And in his mind, he sees the future, and the future is that the Fremen started jihad against the galaxy. And he's like, I need to stop. I need to make sure that doesn't happen. I need to avoid that particular thing, right? Well, I don't think he's going to be able to. I don't know if it's so much a story about leadership, because I don't think that Paul goes bad. I don't think that it's that Paul goes bad, and I don't think that the story is like, be wary about following leaders because they could be bad people and lead you into doing bad things. I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I think it's ourselves. It's that ourselves, when we follow people or a cause, it's like the people can go down a path that's bad, and there's like literally nothing that you can do to stop it, even if the leader was good. Yeah, I think that's what the moral of the story is going to be. But I haven't finished reading the book, so maybe there's other stuff that comes in, And then there's the whole thing about the guy who actually is the Tazach or whatever turns into a worm and stuff. It gets weird. Duncan Idaho gets reincarnated. The leader's success is a function of his followers' goodness. Well, maybe not necessarily goodness, but they are fanatical. There was one chapter that starts out with a quote that says Arrakis was created by God to train the faithful. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like the 10-year bond. That sounds like the 10-year bond to me. Maybe. In terms of Mormonism, you have to realize that the theology is really quite unique, and really takes on a couple of, I would say, like things that were major theological issues at the time, and provides really good answers to them. And in particular, like they have like living revelation is a really big part, that you have a prophet and that leads the church and things like that. That is really critical to its longevity and its ability to be so successful. Because I tell you what, the original settlers that started the Mormon church, man, they were an odd bunch of people. Anyways. But I see this all the time. It's just the crowd. The crowd is its own monster. The crowd does things that you don't expect, aren't necessarily good, and there's nothing that you can do to stop it. And it doesn't even necessarily have to do with how good or bad the individual people are in the crowd. Collectively, the crowd does something different from what the people do. So it's kind of like it's not a warning against leaders. It's a warning against radical ideological approaches to politics in the world, right? If you take an ideological approach to things, then eventually it's going to lead you into a pathway that is evil. Collectivism. I don't know if it's collectivism. So this is like one of the things is what they say. Everything that is about the Fremen is really quite how do we say market's moving here. I'm kind of a little distracted by that. Admirable. Everything that the book says about the Fremen is quite admirable. That they're a tough people. It's like very compassionate and practical. Like at first you think, oh man, like they're willing to kill people for their water, and there's all these customs that are really crazy and stuff. But as you go into it, it really is like, well, that's what they have to do to live in the desert. And for them, being compassionate is being ruthlessly efficient. And it's quite admirable. And all of the people there are, everything that I've seen so far is quite admirable. It's that the ideology though is going to lead them into doing something evil, and despite the best efforts of their leader, it's going to happen anyways. And I think you see that today. Like, I don't think that Donald Trump was an evil leader per se. A lot of people think that he is just evil. But what I do see was that there are a lot of people on the right. So at first I was all into it. I was like, okay, like there's a lot of logic going on here. There's a lot of really good arguments against things that are happening that we should fix in government and so forth. But then this group of people got involved that were, like the QAnon type people. And individually, all of those people were all, trying to be God-fearing, good people. But they were being led by this ideology that was just absolutely retarded. And in the end, they started to do dumb things because of it. And then in this case, the thing that's really weird with Donald Trump and kind of why I feel like we would be better that he doesn't become president again, is that what was going on the internet then started to filter back and start to affect Donald Trump in the way that he did things in a negative way. Lack of resources is the root of evil. That sounds like communist bullshit to me. This world is capable of providing so much. It already has provided so much to us, and it's capable of providing so much more. And we could be so much more efficient with it. The reality is that capitalism, even though it is the best system, the reason it is the best system is because it's free. It gives you maximum freedom, and it encourages everybody to participate. That's why capitalism works. It doesn't work because it's efficient. It's very inefficient. It's extremely inefficient. It's just that the only thing that's like more inefficient than capitalist markets is government. is the reality of it. And it's up to us. It's not just going to function correctly. Everybody thinks that it's just going to function correctly. But what we know about market microstructure, the empirical data says, no, it doesn't work like that. If we want the market to be efficient, it's up to us. We have to make the right decisions. and potentially try and structure markets in a way that will help encourage people to make those good decisions and to try and make things more efficient, right? So it has nothing to do with the lack of resources. People do dumb things. It's not because they don't have lack of resources. If we had infinite resources, it wouldn't all be peaceful. In fact, I would argue quite that it would be the opposite, because when you're concerned about resources, then all you're thinking about is just living. But if you have all of your resources taken care of, you're going up the hierarchy of needs. What's the next thing that you need to do? Self-actualization, I guess. And for a lot of people, self-actualization is oppressing other people and murdering and taking over the world and stuff. And so I think that actually could be the case that the more efficient things come, the more discontent. It's like that mouse utopia. You ever heard the mouse utopia experiment where they had these mice and they literally had everything that they needed, and it was like a whole mouse city, and because they had everything that they needed, the mice started participating in self-destructive behavior. Yeah, I think it's a really important realization that the reason capitalism works is because of freedom, not because markets are efficient. Because there are some people and I think that they're on the left, but could be wrong. There are some people that think that it's not because of freedom, it's because the markets are efficient. And when you start to take that position, then all of a sudden you go, well, so then we should be able to get rid of the freedom aspect, and that will help the markets. That's kind of like the Chinese view of things, right? No. It doesn't work that way. The reason that capitalism is effective is because it gives you maximum freedom. It gives you maximum freedom, and everybody is incentivized to participate. That's why it works. But it's not efficient. It's up to us to make it efficient. But that's what we're here to do, guys. That's the ultimate trade. What is the ultimate trade? The ultimate trade is the trade that we make that changes the world and makes the markets better for everybody. That's the ultimate trade. So one of the ultimate trades that I had in mind was we can show people how Bitcoin works and kind of fix that problem and kind of resolve some of the volatility. I've come to realize that number one, it wouldn't solve the volatility problem. I've learned that the volatility has to do with the orders, and because of the way that Bitcoin works, there will always be volatility. But also, the people in the Bitcoin world just don't want to hear it. So now I think that the ultimate trade is here in regular markets, that we've got to help people understand that markets are not efficient and that the decisions that you make matter, and that you should make decisions not just to make money, but also to make the world a better place and to make markets more efficient. Well, now my food is kind of hitting my stomach, but I don't feel very good. Maybe I need to stop talking a little bit and breathe. President Biden, I'm happy to debate how we pay for my Build Back Better Act, because if congressional Republicans want to argue that continuing tax cuts for big corporations and the wealthiest is more important than lowering costs for Americans, that's an argument I'm happy to have. Man, that is such a foolish thing to say. They are going to destroy him now because the bill does not pay for itself. Now, so I didn't really even think about it. The S&P 500 opening there and a little bit of bearish action on the open, but turning up now pretty good. We might get open would be 46.20. Oil trading a pretty good 20-cent range here. You only have freedom if you have money? That's not necessarily true. You maybe have more freedom if you have money. Okay, so are we getting a piece of news here? 7:45 final manufacturing PMI forecast 59.1. Do a little position management there because all of a sudden I'm feeling a little nauseous. Okay, lower than expected. 58.3 versus 59.1. So medium term impact, the markets did respond to it a little bit, but not excessively. And the treasury markets certainly didn't move. So I think it's going to have a little bit of an impact, but I don't know if it's going to be like major. Look at that E-mini making a run here. Vice President Mike Pence, former Vice President Mike Pence, it's not hard to imagine the day will soon come when the radical left begins touting abortion as tools for managing population growth, as the Chinese Communist Party has done for decades. Possible. Wouldn't put it past them, sure. Okay, that was the lightest of the year on the PMI. Okay, well, I had managed my position and that just hit my take profit, so. Oh, you know what? I don't even think I was in an actual trade because I had changed the account that it was on, huh? Oh man, all that for nothing. Well, let's just kind of see what they do here, because we might get back across 68 if we're lucky. Man, maybe I should move my thing over to Substack. Substack is sure getting popular, eh? Maybe I'll do that today. I'm going to hold a regular stop here on that. Okay. So there are some stops going off here in the oil. So that's curious. Now, what is it like in Delta? It's equal to the whole thing. That is a little bit concerning. Yeah, and the way that everything kind of turned on that particular news wasn't particularly positive, was it? Now we got ISM, and Chairman Powell will continue speaking like he was yesterday. Construction spending. That ISM manufacturing is an important number, right? 61.3. Probably the treasuries are going to pull for it. Buy higher highs or sell lower lows. So tell me, Gary, did you sell any volatility? We were talking about you. I was like, I bet you that Gary's gonna sell some puts here. I think for us right now, it would be correct for us to be hands off for the next 10 minutes. For us, I should say me. For me. Also, I should sit up straight. There we go. You say dangerous to short the VIX right now? Depends on how much money you have and how you do it, right? To do it by selling options is very... It has a really interesting asymmetry to it. Let's put it that way. I think there's a really high probability here that by next week this all chills out and VIX comes back down. Very, very high probability. But if you lose, the potential losses are massive. Yes. You would probably not want to just straight sell puts, right? You would want to have yourself hedged in some way. Maybe a spread. And I don't think that you'd be able to do it with... I think you'd have to have a pretty big wad of cash to do it too. Probably a bigger wad of cash than I have. Startup is seeking SEC approval to run round-the-clock stock exchange. Ugh. You know what? CME 24/7, like the overnight action has enough. Yeah, I don't know. Like individual stocks, I don't think that that's going to work out. Could be wrong, but I don't think that that's going to work out. I don't think that many people will use it. SEC Chair Gensler, the majority of crypto decentralized finance are not really decentralized. Thank you. Man. The volume curve is steep for now. What does that mean? Or sorry, the volatility curve is steep for now. I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, well, the action over in the oil still is being a little bearish. I don't know if they're going to go back to 67.50. We might get another bender like yesterday. Like maybe it's a bender and then they stop at like 66 or something like that instead of 65.50. and then it's a higher low, and then I don't know. The economic news that we've gotten here so far hasn't been very good, and we got some more significant economic news coming in 7 minutes that might also be bad. House Dems emerge from caucus saying stopgap spending bill to prevent December 4th shutdown is not done, say waiting for Senate GOP to sign off as the clock ticks down. Okay. That's a little crazy. If they pushed it back and they're going to have to do another stopgap, like what's going on over there? Yep, and Powell and Yellen to speak. Do you think they're going to say more, think that they're going to catch the market off guard again, though? We want 24-hour available. Well, I mean, you can do after-hours trades in stocks. I just wouldn't recommend it. Like, the reason I say I don't think it's going to work, I don't think that exchange is going to get enough activity, because for commodities, there already is 24/7, and for regular stocks, there is extended hours trading. And I think that people will probably continue to use their current venues. The only way that it would make a big difference is if there was a significant amount of after-hours volume that was traded through it, right? But I don't actually think that there's that many people that want to trade after the... When you say the VIX curve is steep, I'm still not 100% sure what the specifics of that mean. Does that mean that current VIX is really high and forward VIX is comparatively low to that? Is that what that means? Okay, yeah. Now I definitely watched the 2s and 10s. The yesterday when Powell spoke, there was very excessive. Here, I'll show you. Here's how I watch it. I'm a little bit more interested in the 30-year end of the curve right now, but so you can see that the 30 and 10 flattened excessively. And then here's 2s and 10s. They also flattened quite a bit. There has been a lot of situations where the 2s and 10s has steepened and it's been different from the 30. And I think the gist of what they're saying is in the next 10 years, maybe rates do rise. But in the next 30 years, they don't think that they will. They think that the discretionary things that have been keeping interest rates low, did I say discretionary? Like generational pressures on inflation. The deflationary generational pressures are going to continue for the next 30 years is what I think that the market is saying. Now, it could also be people betting on a policy mistake. It's really hard for me to sort out how much of that volume is that, but the way that we see it behave, because we've literally seen it like yesterday, man, the 5 and 10 just got decimated. They got decimated when Powell started speaking, but the 30-year barely budged, and then they straight up bought the 30-year. So when you get that kind of behavior, that's like new orders coming in and stuff, and I think that is very likely is people making that bet. Although maybe some of that is forced too. I don't know. He says yes on the VIX. Oh, okay, so I did understand it. So if it's steep, then isn't the trade to go short near-term volatility? Meaning either get on the VIX futures and start shorting the VIX futures, or start selling puts. Wow. Walmart shopper whose leg was amputated after stepping on a nail awarded $10 million. Wowee. Wowee. Okay, well, I don't necessarily want to take something because we still got 1 minute to the news. But oil is actually held okay here below 68. So again, we're looking for a reading of 61.3 for the ISM manufacturing data. 61.3, 61.3. Okay. Treasury's definitely pulling. Okay, spot 1. So really close, but slightly under. So the S&P 500 seems to like that. The tips. Well, I think the reason that you're seeing that in the tips is because of the shutdown. They're starting to try and price that potential drama over the shutdown again. I don't know if that's actually going to be such a big deal, though. It sounds like Congress is all on board with just extending it. Or the Democrats are going to have to do it all themselves. But either way, they can do it. It's going to happen. You know, you're a big portfolio. You have to hedge yourself against it. But I think as speculators, I think that we can speculate that it's not going to happen. Okay, well, so far, things are going pretty well after that news. Chairman Powell is going to be testifying. I don't know if I necessarily want to participate in this trade over here in the treasuries. I am still more interested in what oil is doing. 1.5 might be an okay place to try and take a trade, but I don't know how much there actually is going to be in it. Liquidity is still a little iffy, so. Oh yeah, look, the S&P 500 likes that. Yay, things weren't a complete disaster. Buy everything. Right? Oh, man. Now, I think actually missing the number, but only by missing it by a little bit is actually really good. Because I think that the concern right now is that the economy is really heating up too much and that the Federal Reserve is going to have to put the brakes on. So seeing that things are still growing, but not like crazy, I think these are good. Well, if you're talking about a longer term thing, I don't completely know why why the short term debt does what it does, but I believe that it has something to do with the actions that the Federal Reserve is taking directly in the market. But I don't understand the short term interest rate market as well as I probably should. Gonna need to find some books on that. But you know what? I have this I've been reading Dune. I read it every day. I'm so proud of myself because I'm not a reader. But I've been reading Dune every day. I'm making like 50 pages a day, so I think I should be done this week. And then I've got a statistics book that I want to read. After the statistics book, then maybe there's some other stuff that we could do. If inflation were really bad, no, I don't. That's exactly the point, though, right? I think that the market is saying that if inflation is a problem, it's only going to be a problem for a short period of time. That seems to me what the market is trying to say, or what the market is betting on. But I would caution that could change really quickly. Okay, that's why I think we want to watch that spread. And if we see that 30-year spread start to steepen, all of a sudden, like we get certain bad inflation news, and it's like the inflation is percolating into people's pay and all of these sorts of things, right? And then we see the yield curve steepen, then there would be concern, because then they're starting to say, oh, actually, maybe this is going to be a long-term thing. But right now, yeah, I think that they're saying that, like, maybe there's inflation next year, but then after that, it's going to be back to the deflationary environment. Because I think even the 5s and 2s are flattening, right? The other thing is that, like, gold is not, like, just going gangbusters like you would maybe think it should be if people were really, really concerned about inflation. Okay, so the treasuries did not steepen, the interest rates did not rise there. Prices coming back up to their highs, in fact. So, and while the S&P 500 took a pretty good run there, oil started to participate and kind of come back to 68. So we'll see what they do from there. U.S. saving bonds are better deal than tips. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody's buying any kind of interest rate product right now because they think it's a good deal and that they're going to make a ton of money from it, right? They're doing it because the way that their business works, they have to. Gold price is how I know that inflation is in fact transitory. I mean, there's been some pretty decent movement in gold ever since that CPI, right? Oh man, we're gonna get CPI. Is it gonna be next week? Let's come look here real quick. Is it gonna be next week we get CPIs? Or is it yep. December 10th. It's gonna be on a Friday. Oh, they keyed up CPI on a Friday, December 10th. Ooh man. The taper talk thing was hilarious. No, here's what really happened. Okay, Omicron thing comes in and market overreacts to it. At least according to the analysts. Okay, I'm not sure that I can really make that kind of a call, but according to the analysts, oil in particular dramatically overreacted. Like they were saying that in order for the current oil price, like below 70 to be like even half reasonable, it would have to be like not a single airplane in the world flew for 6 months, so they big overtime reacted to that. And because they big overtime reacted to that, everybody was saying, well, because of this Omicron variant, they're not going to be able to increase the pace of the taper. That's what they were saying. And so all of these guys came into the treasuries and started bidding the treasuries up on that. Speculation, okay? And then Powell comes in and he says, well, Omicron variant is a risk, but it's not factored into our forecasts because it hasn't actually happened or affected us yet. And all of those idiots that went and bought in on that got destroyed yesterday. It was a real stop run. Like, our model shows that it was a stop run, that the market makers lost money. So That's why you had such an aggressive move yesterday. But that's also why I think, considering how things are going today, and it depends, maybe Powell says something else in his testimony that really roils markets. But if he doesn't, then I think that from here out that we should see the volatility come back. Yes, you get crude oil inventories in 20 minutes. Good point, Joseph. I think you would really say your name Yosef, right? Yosef Kratky. Maybe. Anyways. Meanwhile, CNBC's Trading Nation says, could November market turbulence continue into December? Why one top portfolio manager says the latest setback is just the beginning. Sponsored by Charles Schwab. Both are okay. I don't know. There's maybe some possibilities for volatility later in the month. So Zero Hedge made one observation that, or kind of speculative call that I thought was actually very, very smart. I'm not sure if I agree with it, but I thought it was very smart. That does Powell coming in and talking about that, we're still thinking about increasing the pace of the taper and everything. Does that put money managers into just protect our money mode? Because normally there's a lot of performance chasing at the end of the year, and a lot of money gets put to work in December. So a lot of guys have been positioning themselves for this money to come in December and then got burned. So then they're just kind of like, okay, we just need to protect our money. And so then maybe not as much comes through, right? And then you could continue to see a lot of volatility in December if that's what happened. But I also think that there's a good possibility that we're already past the most volatility. Okay, well, treasuries are coming back. The liquidity is a little bit better there, but, there's just kind of like this light area of liquidity here. So crossing that isn't necessarily too significant to us. We can see if they try and break out below 14.5. We could potentially buy here in the 10-year if we were still wanting to go long treasuries. I think that I still want to keep my focus over here in the CL. We should be aware, like if Chairman Powell says something that really moves the interest rates, then we want to be able to come over here and click in. But otherwise, I think I'm going to stay out. ARK buys Twitter. Ugh. The more I read about this new Twitter CEO, the more I'm like, why? I don't know. I don't think we have Uzi here today, but we were talking yesterday about like why they might want to do that and everything. Will it kill memes? But I think somebody on the Donald got it right. What it really does is it means that like Andy Ngao, or however you say his name, won't be able to post videos of Antifa writing anymore. That's what it really is. That's what it's really about. Is it's protecting activists, and in fact it straight up says that in the note that they put out. Okay, so we really could have bought 5 and we'd already have $10. Not bad. On those CPI reports, Gary, I really feel like you've got to read the report. Like there's a headline number, but then you got to go in and read the report. Because if the headline number is really big, but it's like all completely from used vehicles, that's very different from the last report where it was used vehicles, yes, but then every category was higher than anticipated as well, right? If it was just used cars, then people would have just, But But when it was everything, that's when the politicians were like, maybe we should do something about this. GOP wants U.S. to boost domestic oil output if the SPR is tapped. You know, when I look at those domestic oil numbers, I do kind of wonder, okay, so if we did things like drilling in Anwar and got rid of this regulation or this regulation, how much higher could it actually be? I would really like to see those kinds of estimates and numbers. I've never seen that before. Surely it exists, yeah? Okay, Senate Majority Leader Schumer says we're making good progress on stopgap funding talks with Republicans. Okay, so yeah, the further on we get, the more that the debt ceiling showdown thing appears that it will not be a huge deal. NATO chief says allies must prepare for the worst in Ukraine. Well, in that kind of a situation, oil is going to skyrocket higher, right? There's something really interesting going on in the oil market, because there's Goldman comes out and says, even with, well, first it was $90 a barrel of oil, and then they came and said worst case scenario with another round of this pandemic, it's worth 80, right? And so they say 80, and then JP Morgan comes out and they say, well, everybody's saying that the Saudis and everybody have this extra capacity that they can put. But when we go and we do the analysis, we don't see it. We don't think that they can actually increase oil output as much as the market says they can. And ergo, we think that oil is going to get to 150, which is like a really bullish call compared to where we're at right now, right? That's like double. But then, you know, you get all of this selling action and everything. I think that selling action is kind of unrelated. But at the same time, it seems to me that the market does not believe JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. The market does, or at least there are some big speculators out in oil that know their stuff, I would hope, in oil, that seem to disagree with them. And I'm wondering who's right, because it is a very speculative thing that they're saying in JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan is saying, well, they say they have this supply, but they don't. Yeah, Biden begged OPEC. And I think that maybe some of this decline in oil prices may also be political. Like, there might be some people out there that were kind of more willing to shove the price down to try and help the president. Wouldn't put that past them at all. Well, they went back and tagged 68, but now they are actually pushing a little bit higher, at least higher than they've been in the last 30 minutes. So now tagging 68.35 in oil, as the Treasury's pretty okay move down. It's 1.5 basis points so far. Could be more. Powell's still talking, so. And the drop off was pretty ugly in the 5. So it looks like if we were doing this, well, you could have done okay in the 32, but it does look like, well, and the 30 did move more over here, but I kind of suspect that you're going to see another flattener come in, which means that you might see dramatic buying coming to the 30. We'll see if it comes. I've had a very difficult time trying to call those spreads when they come. So I've been dead wrong on a number of these, trying to figure out if I want to trade the 5 or the 30s. So let's see what happens. Okay, there's oil at 50. They can break 60. That would be a really good progress, yeah. The deltas on it are looking good. Like, didn't they moved back across that area up to 50 quite easily. It's possible oil goes to 100 when, in those reports, I don't think they said when. They just said that was what they viewed as fair value according to their model. I didn't get to read the whole report. I just got to read what everybody's reporting on the report was. But from their reporting, it sounded like they thought that today it should be at 80. But again, they could be like dead wrong. Well, S&P 500 still looking good. I guess the key point that bulls would be looking for, I think, is still going to be up at like 46.50, right? Okay, so a little something happening there in ES. And the treasuries doing a pullback too. That time though, they all moved up in equal amount. Maybe the 5-year leading them a little bit, but the 30 and the 10 trying to keep up. So you're not seeing real steepening there because of that. I can only say it's ticking first. Well, like it was just one tick ahead of them. We'll recenter things there. Who is this? Who was saying that? Tedros? Was it some health official saying that blanket travel bans will not stop the spread of the Omicron variant? I think I would agree with him. Maybe that's bullish for oil a little bit because maybe they will rescind those bans more quickly. When they realize, it's already everywhere. It's already too late. Now my collar was all messed up. I probably looked like a complete tool there. I got a good number of people watching right now. I want to ask you guys a question. I've been thinking about getting a new camera. Now we could do other things with that. I don't know. We could put it into better computer hardware. But I feel like that with a camera, that I might be able to get content out to you more often, one-off content, and in particular, like more summaries of what's going on in the market, because that's the sort of stuff that I think is the most important, most useful to you guys, and I kind of feel like that people that don't watch the stream, that they're missing out. So I want to ask you, how about I create a poll? Buy as $2,800 camera. Ask your community. You tell me, you think that that's a good idea, or if you think I should use it for something else. You got the low in ES live action? Nah. That's not bad. That's not bad. You know what? I would have gotten an okay spot, but I got stopped out. It's okay. Okay, what's wrong with your current camera? So the problem that I have with my current camera is threefold. Number one, the image is not as sharp as I would like. Number two, the autofocus on it isn't very good, and so it's very difficult for me to record myself with it without help. And number three, it's only gives me 1080p, so I can't, like, when I'm editing, I can't like zoom in on the face without losing quality. Hold on, New Squawk is talking. So the camera that I'm looking at buying is the Sony A7 Mark IV that is coming out on December 30th. Is what I'm looking at. So but those are the three main things that I think we gain from the camera. And I'm hoping that, well, with a nicer camera, I think that I'll be able to go out and maybe do things on the side with it too. Of course, I don't think that I'm going to start like a photography business or anything like that, but I do think that maybe, I could go out and take photos more often. Okay, why not the three? Well, so one, I just want the new one. I can't afford it, but number two, there are some significant improvements in the autofocus. Sorry. There are some significant improvements in the autofocus on that one. So like, from what I've seen, I should be able to just set the camera up with autofocus, and I can have me be anywhere that I want, and it will be in focus. So that should mean that I should be able to put the camera anywhere. I would be able to like walk around with the camera and record a video. Yeah. So like, what happens if I get back into a situation where I have to drive into work every day again? Then I could set the camera up in my car and record in my car. That sort of a thing. Actually, maybe that's a bad idea, because you don't want to be doing that while you're on the drive. It distract you. It would distract you. Get the MBO data instead. So I don't think that I can do that with so in order for me to do the MBO data, I want the thing that I am going to be building it into to be producing enough on its own, if that makes sense. So right now I have the indicators, and we make okay amount with the number of subscribers to the channel. But once we're getting over $100 a month coming in through channel subscriptions, then we'll get the MBO. I want the consistent income stream coming in through that because of that. Does that make sense? So I want the residual income coming in to pay for it, because otherwise, yeah, you'd be able to pay for a real long time with $3,000. But how do you know you're actually going to get your money's worth from it? When you're already not getting your money's worth with the indicators that we have right now. Because I have to say, like, the indicators that I'm putting out there I think are really good. I think it's a really good package that a lot of people could make use of. I think a lot of you guys have said, hey, like, it would be better. I would prefer to just one-time buy, which is fair. I'll need to come think about it. I think maybe I'll offer the package for like 200 if we're going to do it that way. Offer the package for like 200. Then you'd only need to get one every other month. One cell every other month. That would probably be real sick. Are you saying with the new camera we'll be able to see? Do you want to see my whole body? I zoom it in so that you should be able to see, well, like from my elbows up is the way that I try and zoom the camera. Okay, so here comes the news. So it sounds like that the numbers are coming out as builds, but the oil futures haven't gone really anywhere yet. Oh, now it's going down. Okay, well. So let me come back over here. Okay, so they were looking for -1.5 on the inventories, and they got -0.9. So that is not very good. That's a pretty big deviation, isn't it? Yeah, that's a decent miss. So it is a negative. It could still be an okay buy at 68. I don't know though. For me, do I want to take a trade in oil here? I still would like to be long oil at some point, but I don't know if I can the spots they've given us right now. So let's just let them sort it out for a bit, okay? Use it for good news. Oh, I think that we've got a good enough news subscription. But that's again, I wouldn't use it. I'm not going to use that for a subscription because it's not residual income, right? Like if I'm going to take on a monthly expense, then it should be because there's monthly income coming in. I mean, we get a certain amount from YouTube ads and stuff, but it's nothing to write home about, right? Yeah, I think that if I did my thing where you get paid through PayPal and then you send me the machine ID, that would probably be the system that would make way more sense to people anyways. So maybe we should get rid of the subscription bit and just do it with a pay. And those of you guys that are subscribing right now, I'll just give it to you. That's what we should do. And then the channel subscriptions are nice. We can keep those, but I also think that I should make a Substack. Okay, well, the oil report was definitely negative. I think that they're holding the 68 level okay. Don't know where it's actually going to go from here. So that, yeah, so Dave, what I'll do is if I move it to a one-time payment thing, maybe I'll keep both of them. I'll the people that are subscribed, you can still get it month to month from the being subscribed. But then people can just pay $200 to get it forever. And if I ever get rid of the subscription, then what I'll do is the people that are currently subscribed that way we'll just give them permanent licenses. Well, there's 68. What do you think, guys? The oil inventories was definitely bearish. The question I have now is, how bearish is that? How far down could that move them? Does that continue through the day, or should we still be looking for a place to buy the dip? I think animations might improve your videos more than a new camera. You know, at PM, I really would like to hire a video editor, because I can do animations kind of. It's a lot of work, and I just don't have the time. And I would like to do do video edits of things that happen on stream. For instance, like the beginning start of the stream that I do every morning, that could probably be split off into its own video and would probably be really useful to people, right? Man, them treasuries got back up to their highs. And oil got slammed all the way almost to 67.80, but they bounced hard there. So I'm not sure what to make of that either. Except for that, it looks like liquidity is a little bit light. Like they're just trading through there really quickly. You should have I have the chalkboard there. So that's another thing, is that if we get the new camera and we have the autofocus, then what I can do is I should be able to just go and start writing on things on the chalkboard midstream. And then I could go and get the, maybe in a month or two, I could get the new DJI wireless microphone and hook that up into our system. And then, I would be able to just pin the microphone onto me and I could write stuff on the chalkboard and talk to you. Yeah, so we kind of got that going. We kind of already got that going. It's good, yeah? And I would be able to just reposition the camera and zoom it in a little bit. Wow, that's a big, yeah, okay, I'm just seeing that. Octavius, 5300 MBO. I'm a little weirded out by what's going on here in the treasury. Not sure what to think of that. You know what? I think that my volume profiles on these might be screwed up. No, they're all CBOT. Okay. I guess that the 30-year just went up a lot higher there before. Well, oil seems to be handling that news okay. They didn't get below. They're not holding below 68 at least. I mean, they might collapse again, but if you were long 68, you'd be okay. I actually did have a long, and it took a little bit of profits on it, so kind of wished that when we were up plus 80 that I had just taken it off, but what you gonna do? Now Powell is speaking. These one spot 495 would have been really good. Yeah, that price action in oil is looking good so far. They came back to 495 for me. Thanks. I think that with the time of day that it's probably a little bit too late for me to try and take a little scalp in the treasury though. I'm seeing ES is not happy. Oil dropping in sympathy. Well, you guys look pretty evenly split after 14 votes. I'm really split myself because I'm on one hand I have like a lot of frustrations when I'm recording, but on the other hand I'm like, yeah, but we sort those out. I wish it didn't take me so long to set up for a recording. But to get everything out and the settings correct, this takes a long time for some reason. Watch for a failed temporality. Well, what would be the targets on the downside here for them to break, though? That's kind of what I'm wondering. Like, should I be trying to be long in here? The Sony codec can be pretty heavy too, depending on your PC. Yeah, that was another thing that I thought about was, am I gonna have to upgrade my video card and everything to be able to really edit with the higher quality video? Should I be upgrading the PC first? I don't know. Now the counter argument could be, but I might be able to pick up individual jobs just recording things for people. Maybe. To make up a little bit to get like a new PC and stuff. Another thing is that it's not going to be forever for us to get a new PC. In fact, probably for the PC, probably I'll get a bonus for work in January and I will use that. Depending on the real reason I haven't upgraded the PC is because hardware just sucks right now, man. Like the costs are just crazy. So really the video card is the thing that I would think I would most benefit from, and they're just so expensive right now. That and I kind of want to do it as like a super PC, so with that amount, 2800 on a PC, that would be a pretty super PC, wouldn't it? See, I'm running a 1060, so I don't know. And when I am editing and I like go back, it does take it a little bit to load it up and stuff sometimes. So I think it's a legitimate concern. Okay, well, oil's still trading this 68.10 to 68.30 range, so I think I might just be done for the day unless there's gives me a better signal later in the day, because I really wanted to try and catch a runner on, if we had gotten in yesterday when I should have, I made a mistake, and so I quit trading. It was a mistake that actually led to a winner. Did you guys see that? Oh, I didn't talk about it here on stream. Okay, so I didn't have the close outstanding orders when a position is closed. And so I had a long at 67.50 that was going, and I kind of moved when it started coming back. I took profits on it. I think I took $50 off of it or something. I don't remember exactly, but it was good. Okay. But then what happened was the stop order didn't cancel, so it went short at 67.50, and by the time I noticed, we were at 67. So I made $50, but it was on accident. I did not intend to make it. And can you imagine if I had not noticed and had left that on? It could have blown the account. No, it wouldn't have blown the account, but it would have been a couple $100, right? if it had stayed on all day. So lucky. But when that happened, that scared the hell out of me. And I said, well, I should probably stop bottom feeding here now then because of that. And that was then when it was it really dipped. And if I had gotten that next little turn down and held it, then I could probably still be holding it right now and be happy with it and be up $300. But alas, actually it wouldn't be $300. It would be what was it? 65. If I got 65, 300, yeah, it would be $300. So, Here at this point, maybe still take 68, but another thing is I could just wait, I could wait, and then later when I have time to do all of that, then do it. I don't know. One of the things is that I'm kind of delaying some of my videos because I'm getting some more insulation, but they're so back ordered that they're not going to ship it until the end of December for me. So any of the videos that I wanted to use the chalkboard for, I'm holding off on. Because the chalkboard is directly across from the door, all the sound just bounces off the door and it's just terrible. So I got some things to put in front of that door, and that should fix that problem. Okay, well, they bounced again, but it's still just kind of in the range. Another thing is that I don't think I'll record it in 4K. I will probably record it in a lower resolution than that, because I don't think I need full 4K to be able to zoom in on a 1080, right? So I'm not going to zoom it in for 4x. So maybe I'll do 2K, and then I can just zoom it in 1x or whatever. I don't know. I shouldn't have asked you because you guys are just making me more uncertain. 56 no, 44 no, yes. So that means that there was 9 no and 7 yes. I think 4K and 1080 are your only options. So maybe you're right. I can go because one of the things that people are complaining about is that if you want to do 4K 60, so that's the other thing. I think I would record 4K 30, not 4K 60, unless I was doing B-roll, because the 4K 60 crops it for some reason. And everybody really, really, really didn't like that. PM says that he really, really didn't like that. I feel like though that if you're doing 4K 60, that you're doing it for B-roll shots, and that in those situations the crop is probably not a big deal. You got the S3 instead. I mean, it might be worth waiting for another camera, because I'm sure that Sony's going to put out a camera that will be a little bit better for video in the future. Like, one of the things that's frustrating is that if my qualifications are it's full frame and good autofocus, you probably could get a much cheaper camera to do that. It's just there's not really a very good one on the market right now within that range. Well, I kind of feel like I'm missing out on the party here in oil, because, I was concerned when they touched 68. Didn't want to touch it. And now I'm like, nah, should be in from 68. Should be in from 68. I don't know. Part of me does kind of feel like, do I really want the camera, or do I just want it because I can? I don't do that much with this camera other than, well, I mean, I use it every day for the stream, but full frame would make a difference too. It may be a little bit easier to do some things with the lighting and stuff. Okay, well, they touched 50. They're kind of coming back. We'll see how far back they come. It looks like that oil report had a short-term impact, and that now they're kind of ignoring it. I guess another thing that I still got to do before I want to do in December at least is to try and get TensorFlow running and learn a little bit more about that, see how much computing resources that has, to see if I can really justify building a monster PC, right? What lens? I was just going to get the kit lens. I was looking at that a lot. And from what I can tell, the kit lens for the Sony is pretty good. The autofocus on all of those Sony lenses is really quick, apparently. And the image quality, it's not perfect, but when you're recording in 4K, it doesn't matter. So whatever. Bye, Seth. Are you leaving now, Dave? Oh, I love you too. We still got like 8 minutes here. We'll watch this. S&P 500 looks like it's gonna try making another push. I'll end the poll here. OPEC meeting is ended. Well, what does that mean? Well, I probably have to close the stream. I'm just going to leave the title at I slept. And we still got 3 minutes or so, but there might be some crazy movement here in oil after we get done. I don't know. Yeah, they're looking really good here. I think that they're going to go for that 68 again. Or sorry, 68.80 rather. Like regular session highs. 88. Okay. So it's nothing bigger. They're saying that the OPEC made no decision and that they're going to wait for OPEC Plus tomorrow. Just hitting Twitter here. Says source. So I'm not sure that that's why the oil markets are moving up. They may just be regular action. Okay, well, I don't know. We'll discuss it again. We got all month to think about it, right? So, thank you guys very much, though. Thank you for stopping by even when I'm, started the stream late and I'm just terrible and everything. But hey, see you guys tomorrow. Stay profitable, friends.